Three, two, was none. All right, we live. We live. Yes, greetings from Korea. 1X1.
AXA here in Busan. It is 4:05 p.m. on a Thursday, and it is as normal as it ever was 70 years ago, just with some more high technology and advancements, pretty much. Not that I'm a reactionary, but the world does stand still most of the time.
That sounds like something Curtis Yavin would say, boy.
Not exactly, but I would say it's pretty normal here where you realize that you kind of detoxed yourself from the cathedral of the United States and you start to realize it's not you, it's them, and you're in a Stockholm Syndrome prison complex until you leave. And that's, if people could just understand that, they would understand most of their worries.
But don't you want to go to Mars there and like go up there and see the aliens and stuff? Come on, guys. It's worth the price.
I don't know. I think, well, it's all Korean here. That's another thing. That's the problem. So
Yeah, sorry, I just got done talking on TML, so I'm a little bit Joker pilled at the moment because we were talking about like, do most people even have a spirit? Are they even a human, or are they just really just like, cannon fodder or something? So that's the debate we were having over there, and I was like, well, I mean, effectively,
TML, I do see whatchamacallit, Machines shows often and what he does, but honestly, I don't know if there's anything original being spoken there because I certainly don't see the legacy brand that I hope that it gets. If it's 2025 now, I hope to see it archived by 2045 on some new digital high tech within 20 years. But I don't know if I'll see that because time is precious and you want to make as much art as you can to the widest audiences possible, to your clients being the highest people in positions of power. I know I sound like a Trotskyist, but
well, Trotsky wasn't wrong about everything. At least, he was recognizing. He's like recognizing the. Well, it's kind of what Curtis Yarvin's saying too. Like the administrative power is kind of like the power, at least in a physical way, right? But it's also like, having children is also power, and actually having love and virtue and all those is actually power too. So
I was about to send you something really funny through X or Telegram, maybe. I don't know if I can send it to you, Telegram. Let's see if I can. You might find this interesting. But when some Twitter users, quote unquote, if there are real people, put the mask off, they seem to be talking in terms of egalitarianism and the ideology of sameness, where, as Wizard of Oz stated, don't look behind the curtain. Don't look that there's an evident white male Asian female that lives in San Francisco, say Fleazy's in an indie band. She has a Substack that magically has 8,000 followers. I wonder where that came from. And then talks about doing acid and going on the Philly SEPTA because supposedly that's cooler than New York, even though she's not from Philly because race, demographics. And there's just a lot of this weird Philip K. Dick hall of mirrors going on. And if you call them out and like a Ghostbuster, use your poltergeist machine to say, or put a flashlight, all of a sudden they block you or they don't want you in the dialogue immediately. And I find that very peculiar, and how they're making sure voices like us are shut up immediately, don't look behind the magic curtain.
right.
And
Well,
don't do ghost
it's like,
hunting.
yeah, no, it's, well, here's what it is. And again, like, you and I share evidence of this ad nauseum all day long. Like literally, we have enough evidence to prove our case like daily 100-fold, right? So like it's not even a question. But it's like, here's the thing: is like so I open up my Instagram or my X or whatever it is, right? And like I send you a lot of it, but I don't. There's a lot I don't send you. It's like, okay, cute Asian girl who's somewhere between the ages of 16 and 35 or 4. Actually, I'm sorry, let's bump that up to 45. Has a high powered job or is struggling to make a name for herself. Gets invited to parties, does drugs, listens to like
Correct.
rap and black music, people's music, and like everyone around her is just trying to like consensually rape her with drugs and alcohol. And like that AXA is fine. But if you want to get married and have children and like get her out of that lifestyle, well,
Right.
you're a Nazi Satanist pedophile or whatever.
Well, the funny part is you're seeing, I mean, here's another word that they're, a George Orwellian word, they're using the word cope, COPE. They like to say that the only way they can cope to have children is, oh, we got out of the lifestyle and now we're ironically married and that we did a thing. And they kind of are using this. They tried to do it in 2020 with COVID.
Yeah, we begrudgingly did it, even though like we should be out there living our best life.
We still want to be in the lifestyle of being swingers, and we're open, and it's my partner.
Like I'll still let my wife like bang a black dude in front of me because that's her choice.
It's very weird, and they all the New York and San Francisco and LA couples are like 20-year-olds who haven't left their dormitory mentality, like their mind stopped growing at 20.
But yet they're making $300,000 fucking dollars at some startup that so it's like they're so delusional,
which is out of touch with the common people, and yet they do a prole drift and say, I'm just like the white skinhead in Cleveland, even though I'm an SF. So they pretend to be egalitarian and say, you too can get your Asian girlfriend. But when you actually apply to the job, like you do submitting job applications to LinkedIn, you're considered the creep. You're considered obsessed. You're considered weird, like a weird.
Well, it's like here. You can date the hot Asian girl who does all this stuff, but you have to get your way into like VC tech, which is virtually impossible, even like a PhD degree at 22 years old. But because you don't qualify, and this Indian guy hasn't brushed his teeth in 10 years does, that's just your fault. That it's just meritocracy.
Exactly. Okay? It's exactly about to say, what is meritocracy at this point? I was having this conversation with FODCAM yesterday, and we have to admit that the troll culture of Something Awful, E-Bombs World, and YTMND, that generation retired. They're either in their late 50s in jail or committed suicide. And that generation made up places like Encyclopedia Dramatica and the accumulation of studying Christian, where it became really popular to study this kind of Lady Divine, John Waters, Harmony Korine, cultural anthropology of finding weird people on the internet. And this kind of created this pseudo subculture that if you're on the internet, you belong with, the Pepes and the Wojaks, and we're all the same. And we're just, I can't believe this. Yeah. But really, that generation retired. And now you have younger kids, like you said, who are in their 20s and teens or late 20s trying to pick this up. But they're 20 years late to the game. They've never logged into E-Bombs World, YTMND, Newgrounds, and all that. And so what's happening, as FODCAM was saying, is that it was considered a virtue in troll culture to lie to people, to make imposter, kind of like users like Dax Flame. Back in 2005, Dax Flame pretended to be autistic to get in views, rage baited, quote unquote. And then now he has 1 million followers today. Another guy, Chad Warden, pretended to be a gangster, whatever. People fell for it. Now he's popular. Now that everybody's doing it, you're now considered an imposter, someone that can't be trusted, and it's not aligned with troll culture, and you should be banned off the platform if you lie. And here's what's, and just to be really quick, FODCAM said that, listen, back then we had high trust on the internet. No, we had low trust on the internet and high trust in society. Why? 90% white. Everybody was white. But back then, what was the ethos of the internet? Don't go dating on the internet. Dating on the internet was considered for pedophiles back in 90 and 2000. Now the tables are reversed, and it's high trust on the internet that Tinder and Hinge, that's normal, and low trust in society because what do you think?
Yeah,
idiots. That's right.
Well, that's the thing is like, so like if you walk up into a woman in person, which is how we met our wives anyways, right? You
Exactly.
meet
Used
women in
to.
real life, right?
You used to, right?
Right. So
Now it's all
so
on OK
so
Cupid or Hinge.
right. Well, and so now women are complaining like, well, the dating apps are really bad, but also like I don't like to get approached in person because I don't feel safe. And it's like, well, isn't that because of what you said, like blacks, browns, like crime,
Right. That,
drugs,
as
whatever.
Cam has stated, the tables have turned. We're now in a low trust society, and we think the internet is high trust. When 20 years ago, in the 90s and 2000s, it was a high trust society with low trust on the internet. The internet was still considered dark and criminal with dial up, AOL Messenger, as crazy as
Right.
that sounds, 20 years ago.
But here's the thing: is like it's not. It's way less trustworthy now because you don't know if any of the things you're seeing on the internet are real, right? So
Correct. And that's the
like
joke.
that
And
that yeah.
that's the whole problem to go back forward. This is why they made it a value to say if you impersonate or troll like Colonel Otaku, you should be shamed, worse than a racist, because the values of this generation thinks the internet is high trust and the internet cannot be divided from the person, which is absurd because it was only 20 years ago with lower technology that the internet was low trust. You can't just change the rules like that. And that's the funny part, is that the really smart people, the Nietzscheans and so forth, and the social Darwinians, have made it possible to throw psychological operations of the classic Indian doing white nationalists, or just putting the slop, as they call it, and getting in the algorithms, pushing an agenda, getting think tanks on your side, and creating a hall of mirrors to push a certain agenda. Um, and that's why what's happening is because you need high trust people to believe in psychological warfare. And I think that's the psyop.
And you're being gaslit that if you don't accept the psyop as real, then you're the untrustworthy one, right? So it's
Mhm.
like,
It's
I'll give
all
you an
your
example.
fault. Right.
Yeah, I'll give you an
Well, here's
example.
the well, I'm telling you, it's getting more extreme where the gang stalkers, CIA agents, and these just random users, they don't come from E-Bomb's world or YTMND. They're not just isolated kids from Kentucky. These are just like weird handle usernames and bots saying, go kill yourself. Just because you say simple as, hey, whites need to be open about getting with Asian women. That's absurd. You should go kill it. Like extremist, the very things they get scared about, neo-Nazis taking away their freedoms, they think you're the bad guy for, guess what, not doing drugs, starting a family, creating sincerity. And then what do they want? Trans people, men should cut off their dicks to be women, drugs. And it's this gaslighting, like you said, is so extreme that they now will kill you if you want decency. And this is pretty much why I'm in Busan, is that I'm a political pariah. I'm in a different country, not because I'm a sexpat or an expat, but
Well,
because I am a political freedom
well,
fighter.
even those words are like pejorative because again, like, so if you go to another country and you have sex with women there, it's any different than if you were to go around and like have sex with women at a club in America or something. It's like, okay, so it's like, you know what I mean? It's like, okay, so it's like just a recategorization of like relatively normal human behavior of like men and women
Correct.
hooking up. It's like, well, you had to
Well,
leave to
men
get
and
that. So
women are the same. Men and women are like basically always biologically. You can't change that. No transhumanism can say a man is a woman is a man. Men have testosterone, women have estrogen, men look for women. If that's the correct, then no matter what international affair you put them, African men in Europe, white men, and they will do what you would hypothetically call colonization, to bastardize a Marxist word, and it's normal. And they're thinking it's a good psyop here. What's going on is you have these weird. I think a real psychological operation media racket is this called One Down Media. It's supposedly a Filipino American media outlet looking for the best of Filipino Americans suffering from mental health. And they have these videos that say why Filipino Americans are moving back to the Philippines, why Americans ruined Filipino education. And guess what they're doing? Blaming white men.
yeah,
And yet,
I saw that too. I saw that. Yeah, I was
and
like,
can
what
I
the
tell you
fuck is
something?
this, dude? Yeah.
Can I tell you something even more scary about it? it's a proxy for white nationalism, because what is Jared Taylor and Greg Johnson at American Renaissance talking about? They use this new magical buzzword, remigration. I think it was coined by Martin Sellner or something of the German Nationalist Party. And the point of remigration is that non-whites who are in white countries will naturally move themselves back to their home country out of a liberal realization they want autonomy of owning their race. Well, One Down Media, a Filipino-American media who speaks in English, note not in like any Filipino language, they are telling that you should be, you're from the Philippines and you should move yourself, literally deport yourself out of the equity state and go to America. And that, quote unquote, the American dream is winning the capitalism here, taking your money and thinking you're winning by exploiting, whether it's a remittance program or making money here and never coming
look,
back.
here's the thing is like, I've known hundreds of Filipinos. Okay, this is actually how they operate. Okay, I mean, it's like, this is not like a theory or something, right? This is actually like how they view things, right? So, and yeah, I mean, so like this is like feeding into the thing, but it's like, so you're saying that this is like a white nationalist operation?
The reason why is that Filipinos don't have to race mix with whites. They can just say white man is bad. And then when they move to say that they have liberal autonomy going back to the Philippines, they're actually practicing ethno-nationalism. What they're doing is they're erasing themselves from Eurasian competition in the United States, leaving thus white people alone. And they don't want to race mix with whites.
Right.
Then they are commodifying their ethno-nationalism and believing that the ultimate truth is ethno, but it's really, they think it's liberalism and equity,
right?
But it's really a trick for remigration.
Right. Well, what's interesting is like Filipinos are extremely racist, so like that's part of it, and they will race mix with whites, but and other people too, but the thing is, generally speaking, like they don't want like you can't go to Philippines and buy property as a foreigner, like, but then they can come here and buy property here, right? And they see themselves as winning because they. Yeah, or yeah, exactly, or yeah, which is like their like I guess their main whatever, right? And it's like, okay, so, but this is like a all white neighborhood for like 50 years, right? So they come and they try to like live the white nationalist dream.
Well, it's been a white nationalist. I wouldn't be surprised if there's American Renaissance or Peter Thiel money dark funneling One Down Media, because if the Filipinos became all liberal in San Francisco and said, you know what, I'm moving out of Daly City, not because I can't afford it, but because this is racism and I can reafford my racial autonomy going back to the Philippines, which then guess what happened? Daly City becomes white again because there's no more Philippines. They all left. And that's exactly what the Japanese did 50 years ago too, even 20 years ago.
Well, and it would be better if that were the case. I mean, here's the thing is like I could tell you, like here in the Bay Area, from San Francisco to San Jose to Sacramento to Daly City to San Mateo to Hayward or whatever, Stockton. Oh my God! Like the house pricing makes. I mean, the pricing of housing makes no sense because it's like, okay, pay $800,000 or $1 million for like a 3-bedroom house that needs
in the middle of the desert near the Pacific Ocean, and supposedly it's the 1950s and stagnation.
Yeah. And there's no jobs, and there's no like you're gonna work at the airport and pay off $1 million house or something.
And here's the funny part: it has a Confucius structure. In other words, people past the age of 50 have benefited from the system, and just like in Asian countries like Korea and Japan, the same thing is happening in the United States, but they're clever not to tell you it's old people running the system. It's rather they're telling you it's individuality, but it seems like, and this is where I believe capitalism is a zeitgeist creation, that it is a socially constructed ideal of the mind where the only way capitalism can fail is if an entire generation honestly stops believing in it.
So it's so Nick Land is right then.
Right. And honestly, that's why socialism came about, is because you had a younger Russian generation who said, we don't have to uphold this. Literally, debt is nothing. You can cancel debt tomorrow. And that's absolutely correct. And so if you do that and you cancel all debt tomorrow, it's socialism. Mm-hmm.
I used to argue that in high school, and people were like, that's crazy. You can't just do that. I was like, why not? It's all made up.
It's exactly. Debt is all made up. Debt is just a number to keep a crossfire on your head to snipe you. That because the entire capitalist system
Right.
is based upon extorting
Well,
interest.
well, it's like this. It's like everybody says that like white people are bad, but it's like, okay, here's the thing is like I sent you this video earlier. It's like, okay, there's this like Vietnamese girl and some Indian dude for some reasons over there. Like, oh, I found this Vietnamese girl who's owes money to a loan shark from her parents because her dad died and her mom borrowed money 14 years ago to help her have a kid. But I want to fundraise for her to get her $1,200 so she can pay off her debt and be free. And I'm sitting there thinking, it's like, okay, so you're an expat Indian guy from America that went to Vietnam, and you're trying to crowdfund $1,200 to get a Vietnamese girl out of trafficking, a child trafficking
Well, let's be
situation.
honest.
It's
You
like,
can make that
what?
money and you can make $12,000 in about 2-3 months in the United States.
No, it's
if you live in
1,200. No, it's $1,200.
1,200. 1,200.
Yes,
Oh my!
right,
Then you can make that literally in a week or two. So why
right.
is he asking for money?
But right, exactly. And so it's like, so but he's like, I really care about this girl. And I'm sitting here thinking, it's like, okay, so like America's really bad and capitalist, but like if you have a kid and you can't pay, like you're not gonna have a loan shark go and like enslave your children to pay back the debt or something, right? So it's
Right.
like,
Well, another thing too that they won't admit is that debt is what keeps the American economy going. If you tell anyone that you're debt free, Gen Xers and Gen X, even boomers, or only I would say Gen X and millennials look at you strange. Why aren't you not in debt? Because
yeah,
I think the
exactly.
boomer generation, they were the last generation to say be debt free, but Gen X slowly but surely normalized debt because they thought it was a low return on investment, and it just kept getting higher and higher, and they made more lame excuses until it's too high, until you have the president of the United States saying it's going to take 50 years to pay off that Norristown, Pennsylvania crack house if you want it, and you're going to work at the UPS factory in Horsham,
which makes no sense at all,
and
and it's like,
why
and then
you
here,
have an entire generation in debt. And guess what? If enough violent proletariat kids, I doubt it would happen, if they were to have some communist ethics and create Sorelian violence, they would cancel the debt tomorrow, just like how January 9th, January 6th happened, just like Unite the Right happened. And people now are condemning you in America for having any form of violent protesting.
Well, see, here's why safe sleaze is a real thing. Let me give an example. Okay, here's the thing. Okay, and this is what people don't understand. Okay. Let me try to break this down for you. Okay. Okay. So yesterday I was watching the news, which is owned by Disney Corporation, by the way. But anyways,
right.
But and so like half the fucking news is like these crazy Latino kids are shooting everybody. Also, there's a new Disney movie coming out. Make sure you go see it. It's like, okay. And then the commercial was for a $350,000 starting condo in like a shithole part of Oakland, right? And like the Bay is yours. You can live in Oakland. And it's like,
well, let's go back to One Down Media. Let's suppose there are a bunch of Filipino. You're right.
Right. Well, and by the way, it's a studio apartment for $350,000.
It's a studio apartment to start up your career as a musician or an artist, and somebody will buy your album. You'll make millions of dollars to pay off the debt, and that's a startup, quote unquote. Right. It's like this old form of capitalism innovation that PragerU loves to argue that has pretty much been dead since 1985 or the mid 90s.
And then the news is celebrating
that they are the part of that generation, and they think they want to return to tradition. This is basically the people who rule Vice magazine and live in Bushwick and Williamsburg, because they were in that generation when they moved to Brooklyn and San Francisco to make it happen in the early 2000s. But 20 years later, it's not possible. You could say the game is over. There's no more money. So, I mean, this is a libertarian thing. This is why they're printing more money.
Right. And then here's the crazy part. Okay. So they're like, oh, well, San Francisco is going to build all this housing in the Mission Rock or whatever, like that like shitty part of town near the Oracle Stadium is, that nobody wants to be at. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Right. So they're like, they're going to build like 1,000 apartments over there, and then they're going to build up Treasure Island. And it's like, okay.
It's going to be like Dubai. You know, you're going to put a Statue of Liberty in the Promethean Project, and we're going to have a Statue of
Right.
Liberty here to show all our wealth here.
Exactly. Yep. And then it's like, it's so they're like, in the next 10 years, we're going to build enough housing for 1 million poor people. It's like, okay, what are these
Sounds like
million
William
people
Gibson's
gonna
Bridge
do?
trilogy, Virtual Light.
Right. You know, that's exactly right. And it's like, so what are these million people gonna do to make money to pay
DoorDash.
$8,000 a month for a studio apartment? Like, what is that?
DoorDash. And here's the thing: DoorDash, as the gas gets more expensive and the vehicles get more, and they're all in debt, DoorDash will only pay you $60 a day, subtracting
Right.
$30 in gas.
And then
At the lowest
then they're
possible.
gonna pass and they're gonna pass a law that you can only use like an electric like one person scooter to deliver,
And then
because the earth
electricity,
might
and
die or
because
something.
there's more gas than electricity, well, that's more pricier to get a hold of electricity. We're going to charge you double with interest.
Right.
Yep.
So
It's
right.
just
So
one
like
endless.
so like rather than your bill, your bill now that's like 250 and subsidized, it'll be 550 non-subsidized for a studio apartment.
And then
to
they
charge up
gas,
your
and here's the
scooter.
funny, and on top of that, you are buying property, a room in a building complex that you can resell as a miniature landlord or capitalist if you pay it off in 30 years.
Right. And here's the thing is, like, all these people who've came here in the last 10 years, they're going to be displaced by the new generation of immigrants.
Exactly, because
They're
they
going to come
never
and
cared
displace
about
them.
you. Exactly. And this goes with the replacement where, oh, you ever hear that great replacement theory? You will not replace us, that we've been saying at Unite the Right this entire time. These are the most, even Joe Biden, the last president, said, I'm only running for president because I don't want, because of Unite the Right, what happened in Charlottesville. Imagine if those people grow in numbers. That means Joe Biden sees me as a domestic terrorist, his own white American citizen from the Delaware Valley, where basically I'm like the Jew during a Holocaust. Instead, and what the Jews during the Holocaust do, they ran away to Israel or America. And for me, it's running away to Busan, not because I'm a sex pest or because. And here's the gaslighting gets even more dangerous. They talk about how cancel culture and how radicals are unfairly kicked off and censored. You know, liberals love to talk about banned books. Well, you know, I used to have Safe Sleazy and told the truth about white male Asian female with over 38,000 followers. All of a sudden, Instagram took away my account because you were harming other people's rights. And guess what they did? They spin the narrative and said, no, it was good that he was canceled from the platform because he's a mean person, as if freedom of speech doesn't exist anymore. In other words, I'm trying to say they've brainwashed people to say you should ban people for being mean, not for telling the truth. And telling the truth supposedly now is mean. And the reason why I'm in Korea is because you've been banned from the United States because you're a serial killer, neo-Nazi pedophile. See how insane this rhetoric is?
Here's the other side of it too. And so this is what I was going to get at before. So, you know, trying to think of how I have 2 points.
I'll put it like this way. In West Germany and East Germany, when, you know, Mr. Mustache's government fell, East Germany with Alter Ulbricht, to stop West German influences, they built the Berlin Wall. But Walter Ulbricht said that the Berlin Wall is actually called the anti-fascist wall. We only built that wall to get rid of fascist influences in our own country. It's good for the own people. So exactly calling your enemy a Nazi, serial killer, a pedophile is exactly why you would build. You know, it's basically saying, as we had to get rid of the fascist, and Pilleater's a fascist, and he ran away because he's too much of a coward to be here. See how the gaslighting and reinterpretation of the text, it's basically what the Soviet Union was doing.
Well, and it's worse. It's so much worse than that too, because here's the 2 things I was going to say. Okay, so on the one hand, right, like, the reason why Safe Sleazy is a real thing is because, you know, white guy from Kentucky doesn't care about owning a house. He cares about, like, a woman that wants to have kids with him and, like, be a good person.
He knows he'll never own a house because he doesn't have the money. He just wants to live
and he
another
doesn't care
day.
about it. Right.
Right.
Exactly.
He's looking to make wealth anyways as much as possible. But one of them is not buying a house tomorrow. That's like an upper middle class pursuit. He just wants to.
Right.
And it goes to show.
most
this
of us grew up in a
PragerU.
trailer, so anything not in a
Yeah, and then what
trailer
do you think
is better than
PragerU
that.
celebrates? PragerU loves to celebrate. Oh, this guy didn't go to college. He was from white poverty and built himself up. Well, that only happened because they understood what wealth is. It's not that they did it ideologically. And
Right. It's because they literally just like, hey, I want to find a woman that actually like loves me and I love
provides me
her
with the
and like
best
actually we care
wealth
about
and
the
best
future.
exactly.
Yeah,
I mean, again,
because they actually have virtue essentially. Like because they have virtue, they have wealth.
the bioweaponry is real to an extent where those poor whites who live in Dayton, Ohio, now have to suffer from 30,000 Haitians that were deliberately put there, not because the Haitian government fell apart, but because the United States wants to destroy any white collective cohesion. And they could have easily put 30,000 Japanese from Hokkaido in Dayton, Ohio. And there was a tweet that got, 100,000 likes saying, how come is it they didn't put 30,000 Japanese women in Dayton, Ohio?
Right.
Well, it was done on
So but
purpose.
so here's the thing is like people like you and I are like downgraded as people because we support like actual wealth and virtue, right? But then like I just sent you a link and it's like, okay, this girl is Chinese and Japanese mix. She has tattoos. She's probably being drugged up and like sold
Correct.
into prostitution. And like that's fine. She can literally say like, "Well, I would fuck a fan because this is my business and this is like I'm just trying to
And I'm
express
living my
myself as
best
a
life.
whatever."
That's the big one. I'm living
Exactly.
my best
Right.
life is there.
And so
The thing you gotta
literally
watch out for.
Instagram has become literally like backpage.com essentially, right? With like
Remember. Yep. Back in
like
the day, Backpage.
literally yeah, or whatever, right? Yeah, it's like it's literally like a prostitution service for both
Right.
corporate and personal and
The
whatever, right?
middleman who can. I'll tell you
Yes.
this: when Safe Sleazy got big, the people who were DMing me were pretty crazy. Not only girls were DMing me, but literal gangster types were DMing me, basically saying, "How'd you get this? How'd you do it?" And it's like getting lots of followers on Instagram is pretty much coded with the mafia. But yeah, just going
Well,
back
I'll
and
give you an
rewinding.
example. Go
What's
ahead.
that? No, I'm
No, I was
just
just going to give
going
you an
back and
example. Go ahead. Go.
No, I'm just saying the rewinding is going back to troll culture that back then you would get lots and lots of followers for trolling people. Today, that's considered inauthentic, being an imposter, ruining people's trust. And, we had PragerU telling us we should stop cancel culture and you shouldn't fire the bridge maker for saying nigger, right? But now it's like, you're firing people because of virtue. The bridge maker shouldn't be building a bridge because you can't trust him because he trolls people. He's just a bad person. Well, any economy, if you make that happen, you're gonna fail. Like if there's 10 people in the village and one of them is a bridge maker, and you fire the bridge maker because he's mean, your whole town is doomed because you can't make a bridge for the people. And this is like, again, I just want to say is that we've lost the sense of troll culture and we need to bring back troll culture because it's all about harming liberalism, this ideal the internet is high
Well,
trust. The internet is not high trust.
well, it's worse than that too because here's the thing: is like they're using a pseudo troll culture as a proxy to say, look, there's still a troll culture. Let me give you an example, like the sperm racing stuff, right? Like
Right.
all the people in Silicon Valley are going to like the sperm racing thing. It's like, oh, isn't this funny? We're gonna bring 18-year-old women fresh out of college or like who are like
And just
working for
being,
VCs and watch sperm racing as like a new like tech sport or something, right? Like haha, it's just a prank bro, but it's like heavily funded and all this. So it's just trolling or something, right? But it's like it's actually not trolling. It's actually like high level liberal transhumanist
eugenics. It's
propaganda.
like it's
Yes.
propaganda about celebrating eugenics. Who sperms the fastest?
Right.
It's a very bizarre. And
And,
whose womb is it going to
right.
touch? An Asian woman's.
Well, exactly. And so like but meanwhile, you know, most of these women are being brainwashed into thinking like, oh, just they're literally being inducted into like a cult where like, don't you want a VC guy or like the Indian guy who has a startup and has $40 million,
And
because
who's
Peter
ironic,
Thiel
he's
gave it
just
to
like
him
a
or something.
whitewashed white person who's just like, he just so happens, anybody from Babai can be like a kid in Kentucky. It's just not true. It's like one
Yeah, it's so
propaganda after
bizarre.
another. Exactly.
Yeah,
It's a part of the transhumanist identity.
and the other side of it is, it's
Oh,
I'm trying to think.
again,
There's
why would they choose the whitewashed Indian and not the kid in Kentucky every time? Because they care about queer culture and queer stacking and the uniqueness of identity as a pretentious statement. So it's older people running it to fit a liberal narrative of something they didn't have growing up in 90% white America. It's like it's Freudian as much as it is psychological. It's like an anger against the reality of nature and trying to destroy it to be the same. And every argument is about race does not exist. We're all the same. White man's going to pay for it. And there's something wrong with virtue or making wealth. And we have to tear down these things in a very Rene Girardian fashion.
Yeah, and it's like all these people are being like separated from their family at 18 and being like given a new identity of like,
and then
okay, now you're
then
like
the same. And here's the funny: it is only in America that they say as an insult, "You're living in your mom's basement," because they think being an American means being separate as an individual and calling your mom and dad by their first name, and you're ruling your destiny. And if you're back at your mom's basement, you have no power. Well, it seems to be conflating capitalism and liberalism. Right.
Yeah, and in Asia, it's a sign of wealth if you have your
Exactly.
entire family living under one roof.
Exactly.
in
And
a
India
state.
as well. And so it's only white people who are being brainwashed. They should be literal homosexual individuals who have destiny and they all have trust funds. Again, it's just doesn't make any sense. And they tell you, and here's the funny part, and when you resist and say, we are under the Stockholm syndrome of centennial capitalism, brainwashing us that liberalism is the highest virtue of an ideology, seven ideology, they say, go kill yourself. And that's the social Darwinian part. That's like the singularity trying to kill us all.
Right, but it's only if you see the trick. Like if you just go along with it, then you'll be rewarded, at least in the short term, right? But then in the long term.
But in the long term, when you're old and you're retired and you're over the age of 30, guess what all the propaganda says? We don't want you anymore. It's just like the porn business. It's scary.
Yes.
They say you're above the age of 30. We lied to you this entire 15 years. We don't want you anymore. Go retire.
We don't care about your drug addiction. We don't care about your drug addiction and mental health problems.
Here's the thing. The only remedy is you got to be the pimp, or you have to be the CEO behind the curtains. But if you're not, too bad. You're just reminiscing on the life you used to had, and you should go kill yourself. Live fast, die young, celebrate Larry Clark.
I'll give you an example of this. And again, like I'm not trying to like hate on Giorgiani because I don't know him, but
I'm gonna go outside for dinner. Okay. All right. Looks like I'll have to go. I'm going to have dinner outside in Yongzhou, but I'll talk to you then.
Awesome.
You have a nice night.
All right. Have fun, man. Have you too. Bye.